Okay.
Oh, hello everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Tonight Show podcast for today, the 7th of September. And of course, yes, welcome to the show. I just want to say that I do apologise, there was a bit of a technical glitch just as we came on air tonight. I'm live on location at the Orchard Holiday Village in Clacton-on-Sea. I'm on my last night of my little midweek break here. So hopefully tonight, fingers crossed, this internet doesn't play up. You might see my mechanical gremlins slightly appearing if my mic does slightly run a bit all over the place. But joining me tonight to round up all the latest news and the start of a new political week from Parliament, Labour Party supporter Zach Chambers. Hello, Zach.
Hi, Charlie. Hello, mate.
Right, we're going to start off now with this news. Now, we don't usually start off with the papers, but we are going to start off with the papers tonight because I want to read to you some headlines whilst we are here from a suspected news that has broken out today. Now, dominating front pages at the moment, there is a lot of news about a terror that suspect that is escaped prison. Now, a former soldier accused of bombs hoax and secret offences has escaped prison. Now, in question, it is Daniel Kafil. He's been refused bail because he was deemed a flight risk. Now, I have to say, obviously, this is the terror suspect who's been questioned. He's escaped jail under a lorry. Now, ports are on high alert as the police believe an ex-soldier may be trying to flee the country. So, are we going to allow this guy to take refuge in another country? Is this guy going to become the new legal immigrant? We don't know. I mean, Zach, given the papers that we've seen at the moment, what do you know from this story that has just emerged so far?
Yeah, we have a case where if you're in prison, you can actually escape from prison. Not the best sign of ideas, is it? To be fair, Daniel Abe Khalif, he fled unbelievably from a kitchen at Wandsworth Prison in South London. A kitchen in a prison. I wonder. You have to wonder. What the hell is going on with security there? How has this guy got out of a kitchen prison? Quite frankly, and how has he ended up on the back of a lorry as well, clutching his straws to it whilst making an escape? It's quite unbelievable, quite frankly, as well. Yeah, so he's on the run. Police have still not been able to find him at the moment. This guy is 21 years old, and he's reason why he was arrested. He is suspect of being a terrorist, pretty much as well. Yeah, and he was clinging to the bottom of a delivery van. That's quite said something. Going from the kitchen to a delivery van is not the sort of the way that I expected this to go out. But anyway, that's what's happening there. So there's now a manhunt for this guy on the loose as well, breaking away from prison as well. It makes you wonder with this guy, with this suspected terrorist, what on earth is he doing in 1-on-1? There's a question here. Why is he in a category B prison? Why not a category A? He's a terrorist suspect. What's he doing in category B? That's my first question. Secondly, of all, why was it that it took a whole hour for prison officials realizing that he was missing and the police being informed of his disappearance? It strikes me as inadequacy that this guy managed to escape, not only escape, but what the prison officers knew about it, yet didn't inform their other fellow police officers an hour later. How does that? If you knew a guy escaped and he was a terrorist risk, why is it taken an hour for the police officers in the prison cells to realise that he's gone and then inform the police nearby that he's actually gone missing? That is a dangerous threat in its own self. There is I have to say, from the security aspect of it, it's a complete and utter disgrace that this guy has been allowed to get away. This guy, there's not been the security, number two. And number three, it's been such a lack of a response to actually him escaping. no, an hour between him escaping and then the other police is being informed is shambolic and a national security threat in many ways, because he could be going around there, roaming the street, plotting his next terrorist attack as far as I'm aware, whilst he's running off in any other distance as well. Flights obviously nearby had to be halted because they didn't know whether he got on the plane or not, and all that sort of thing as well. But it's incredible, really, the lack of security. The fact this guy is he's not even in Wandsworth prison, which is a Category B prison, not a Category A prison. It's complete. What the hell were you thinking, sending this guy to this prison? And I was very interested because I believe one of the people that I watched went on Sky News this evening and said that Wandsworth prison, because it's so badly managed and everything like that, should even be shut down. What they interesting around the area, what this is like, and I'm reading this article. Capacity 600. There's inspections of but it's it was designed for. It is an absolute shocker. It really is. It is an absolute shocker. As well, the fact that he's an overcrowded prison. This guy's escaping, and yet he's in a Category B. But no one knows he's been escaping because there's no information about it between an hour ago. It's complete and utter. It's an absolute despair. And I know it's so overcrowded, but surely you respond to overcrowding with the situation that they have at the moment. And it really is a complete and utter shambles, really, to be fair, of what's happening. It really is. It's gone off the, Category B means Wandsworth takes prisoners straight from local courts, awaiting a trial. There's a Category C resettlement unit in Wandsworth, less violent. But why is there any Category B? Why not Category A? Like, the conditions there is a shambles. He's a terrorist. He's in a cell which is over 60 to 80% overcrowded. There's no security watching around because clearly the shambles. I think one person suggested, I can't remember, it was David Simply said his experience of it was appalling. He said the prison officially had a full complement of staff, but there are a third of them on sick leave at one time. Effectively, they're understaffed every day. This is a shocking example of not only him running away and making an escape from the prison, but this prison security being so inadequate and complete and utter shambles that they can't even look after people. There is an absolute disaster for not only the terrorists that escaped away, but also the prison that have had inadequate amount of security, inadequate management, overcrowding, and low staff on the morale on the beat at times. There is every party at fault here, and it is a complete and utter living disaster that this has happened, Charlie. As well, it is complete disaster, and honestly, I can't believe it. As well, really, to be fair, it really is. It's unbelievable what's gone on, really, because it's complete shambles. Oh, looks like Charlie's having technical difficulties. Poor lad.
Annoying. Yeah, we're back on now. I just want to say about this story. That the guy, I don't know why he's escaped. I think it's just ludicrous, really. The fact that he's like just escaping, and you have to say, like, what is he doing? Like, how can he be doing this? You just can't imagine people doing this. It's not something that I would fear happen. I mean, comment down below, guys, what you make to this, because for me, this is a terrorist threat right now. Now, we're going to move on and talk about Parliament this week. Obviously, we had Parliament back for the first time since the summer recess. And I have to say, Parliament dominated this week by lots of bills. Obviously, because of my being on my phone, I'm not going to be able to view Parliament. So I'm pretty sure Zach will have to explain the parliamentary procedures of Commons business on this week. Now, what we did have was PMQs on Wednesday, where there was plenty of feisty debate between Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer over the RAC crisis in our schools. Now, the government published about a list of 147 schools the other day, roughly, which were on that list that needed the new concrete installed. Now, I want to make it clear that the concrete RAC, it's a specialist concrete that has been prone to collapse. Some schools have had collapses. First of all, I want to say that I hope all of these children are safe for a start. We don't want to be seeing schools cracking up. Now, the news has been clear. Keir Starmer criticised Rishi Sunak over this in PMQs. And Zach, what do you make for this week's RAC crisis? And what do you make to the comments Gillian Keegan made to the press the other day during her interview with Sky News?
Well, I could. To be fair, I could put a swear bucket in if you really wanted to, Charlie. Amount of times I could really want to say that, but I really am not going to because we are on mic and I don't really want to say anything inflammatory. to be fair, but if you really do feel like, for many, it does feel like the swear mic has been left on for many parents across the UK. Gillian Keegan may be patting herself on the back this week, but certainly she's not patting herself. Deserves to have a pat on the back at all over the last few days. A lot of shambles of communications from her, the Department of Education, and many others as well. Is quite something. But the denial, really, of this is the RAC issue that's come up just before schools went back this week. There are, well, let me say this. There's 19 schools. So the start time is delayed for 19 schools responsible for 11,000 students. 4 schools with a total of 2,938 people, so they also had to return to remote learning, whilst they become a mix of remote learning and face-to-face. So there's about 100 odd schools that are being affected. I noticed the worst affected area of this, and we would be surprised to say this, is Essex as well. There's several schools that I've known of that's close as well. I mean, you look at some of them here. If you look at, especially the one in Essex, the one in Hatfield Pebble, there's one, Brodford School, which I used to attend, has also been partially closed as well. Billericay School as well is one of them as well. There's also schools in Kent that's closed, Hampshire, Mersey Island, Colchester as well. Charlie's having issues, but I'm just going to keep reading as well. Baynhams as well, Stanway, All Saints, St Andrews. I mean, so many on this list that's had issues as well. And there's many factors in this. Is why is this? The fact that RAC has been in schools for years. I've been going to a school that's had RAC on it, literally. I honestly, the ceiling could have collapsed on me at any moment if it wasn't, if we didn't know about it. But honestly, it's pathetic that funding has been cut on the Department of Education by government choices of austerity and the fact they decided to scrap programs. We had one person, I think it was in the Treasury Department, I think, was saying that they put in a bid for 200 odd schools to be prepared, and then Rishi Sunak only accepted 50. He had it at 100, then cut it to 50, which is a disgrace on his part, if that's really true as well. We've had RAC has been known for years in many areas as well, and yet nothing's been done about it. They've known it since probably February, according to, I think it was East Anglia Byline Times or something, as well, and yet nothing was still done about it. The warning signs were ignored. And nothing was funded. Funding was cut. Funding was, was gone, withdrawn over the years because of stupid Tory cuts. They call it efficiencies, but it's cuts. Let's just say that as well. There's no getting away from it. And this result is because of the fact that it's come so close to new school terms, and the fact that it's happened now, it's a complete shambles. Now, it makes you wonder if there is RAC on schools. Is there RAC in hospitals? Is there RAC in our care homes? Is there RAC in other buildings as well where our most vulnerable go? It is an utter nightmare. It shows cases of a place of broken Britain. The ceilings are collapsing. Kids going to schools which basically are in danger, really, from collapsing under their roof. I mean, it makes me wonder why I can't believe that a school has not collapsed yet. And I hope hell God they don't, but it angers me. It angers me. These are kids' education being disrupted once again because of inadequacy, incompetence, shambles of handling, cuts to funding, and we are finding out really how this is all affecting across the whole of the UK. That there is a shambles in how this has been treated, and the education giving herself a pat on the back, and saying that she did that she was bemoaning that others were not congratulating her for doing what she said, and I excuse me with the French, it was an effing good job. I don't think she's done an effing good job. I think she's done an effing awful job. Quite frankly, give herself a pat on the back. But no, I think more of like a kick up the arse, if anything, as well for her. And that was what Prime Minister's questions was focused on. Keir Starmer really going to the body blow of schools, RAC, and how everything was a broken Britain in many ways as well. It's not surprising that he focused his 6 questions on that as well. And it was really much criticising the idea. Rishi Sunak said here that Keir Starmer was catching hindsight, which sounds like he's all Boris Johnson all over again, and saying that he was using this question for political opportunism. I mean, it's not political opportunism; it's political reality that you've been sort of responsible for schools. And Gillian Keegan is sitting there and saying it's not the role of the Department of Education. School sides should get up their back to the eyes, and they should be telling her what a good job that she is. As well, I'll tell you what could be an effing good job actually, is she got the sack and got kicked out as education secretary. I think that would be what would be an effing good job. And to the point, right? Okay, hopefully in a year's time, in my view, it'll be an effing good job that if Labour get back in charge this next year and fix this mess after the general election, because really nobody thinks that the Prime Minister or the Education Secretary is doing an effing good job. We're not going to pat your backside for that one, I don't think.
I can tell Zach is in election mode right now after that.
Practicing for next year.
Yeah, but make sure next year go to the polls if you're all interested, and also the mayoral elections coming up as well. That'd be very, very interesting. Now, this is the Tonight Show podcast with me, Charlie and Zach. I do apologise tonight about technical issues. I've had to constantly juggle around between getting a device to work and that, but. Yeah, I just want to say on the RAC issue, Zach, I think the PMQs was dominated by that, and I think the schools, particularly like Appleton, Eversley, Primary School in Pitsea, there's a couple of schools in it, quite a few schools in Essex actually, that are on that list, and I found that quite weird actually. It's surprising to see some schools in Essex on that list. Now I'm hoping that these issues are sorted, but again, is this the term cowboy builders being used as referenced by Keir Starmer and PMQs? Do you agree that cowboy builders is what the Tories are running at? Let me know in the comments. Moving on now to the ULEZ zone once again now. And I want to talk about ULEZ because over the last few days, we've seen Blade Runners go around destroying more cameras. Now, Sadiq Khan has been under a lot of pressure by his ULEZ zone. Many businesses are demanding extra support. And the other day, it was also unveiled a Labour council actually scrapped the congestion charge as well. Now, Zach, this news to me, do you think Sadiq Khan has got to follow suit, or do you think the London mayor is free to do whatever he wants and stoke his population in denial?
He's free to do whatever he wants, quite frankly. Any of these councils are free to do whatever they want. If they want to sort of get what they feel like is right for their community, as well. I have to say, it's not been the best of weeks, I have to say, for Labour-run councils. We've got London, which, is a bit of controversy. I do feel like it's calmed down a little bit, I have to say, with this ULEZ stuff. I mean, to be fair, Steve Khan handed it out with Piers Morgan on Monday, so he obviously got on, I thought, pretty well there. I mean, in terms of communication-wise, and explained his reasoning. I mean, it was quite personal as well, because he obviously does this for, obviously, population and carbon dioxide and everything like that as well. It was a good interview with Piers and Sadiq, I think, on that one as well. From what I saw, I did actually watch Piers Morgan on Monday night, which tells you everything I need to know. Yeah, I mean, I think Sadiq's going to ride the storm, personally, in my view. On this one, I do feel like it's going to end up right in the storm. I honestly do. I think at the moment, I think people stop talking about ULEZ for the moment, and I feel like it's going to go right on the bus where everyone else has got a defence, election campaign in May and due to run, and they're going to not the implementation is going to be over the next couple of months, and nobody's not realising, apart from the one day, protest, nobody's really talking about ULEZ now as much as they really thought they wanted to. So that just tells you the state there. I have to say though, it's not been a good week for Labour-run Birmingham Council. Though they're the biggest council in Europe, as well. Birmingham Council is huge if you think about it. I mean, like it's one of the big northern cities. They have gone with a section. I think it was 114 notice. They're saying that they've run out of funds, and they're pretty much gone bust in many ways as well. Now, understandably, I want to mention this because I just explained the contents of why this is happening. The reason why this is happening in Birmingham, as well. UK, Charlie,
they went bankrupt. Just to let you know,
yeah. And it's a population. It serves 1.1 million people, which tells you how big this council is. But this goes back years, Charlie. I'll give you the context of this. In 2010. 5,000 female council staff won their case for an equal pay at Employment Tribunal. It included staff such as teaching assistants, catering staff, had missed out on bonuses given to staff and jobs done by men, like refuse collectors and street cleaners, refuse collectors. The council has paid 1.1 billion in equal pay claims, and right now has a 760 million pound bill, which is increasing by 14 million every month. So that is the context of how they're into this situation as well. It's got problems also with the new cloud-based IT system by Oracle. It's supposed to cost 19 million. It was delayed though for 3 years, and now means it's now expected to cost 100 million as well. So the fact that they've not done all these equal payments to those that they've sued and won their cases in tribunal, and the fact that their IT system really badly implemented, means that they've had racked up a cost of over £1 billion in demands as well. The issues have been known for some time, and in July the council ended all non-essential spending in immediate effect. And on Tuesday, it was issued a Section 114 notice. Effectively, the calculator doesn't have any means to meet its financial liability. It cannot commit to any new spending as well. Some of the decision is also part down to probably the city hosting the Commonwealth Games last year as well. Although they did contribute 870 million to the UK economy as well. So yeah, the deficit is going to be 87 million for 23-24, which the council did not have enough reserve given the equal pays to cover as well. So the fact is, the Section 14 notice describes the council go essentially bankrupt. This means it cannot officially go bankrupt due to services to provide law. But they have to provide statutory services such as education, children, adult waste bin collection, planning, maintaining roads, and library service. It doesn't mean they're likely to be cut to other services where the council deems as unessential, and there's likely to be 10% council tax rises as well for Birmingham Council. So yeah, not looking good for Birmingham Council. Now I should point out, although it's Labour run, it's not the only one that's in trouble. Thurrock Council, Conservative run, gone completely pot rally with stupid financing and spending as well, and yeah, there's a lot of reaction as well. Obviously Birmingham said, obviously Labour, Conservative line of blame on Labour on this as well. Others saying that this is due to a lack of local funding as well. And yeah, there's going to be what happens next, we'll have to see in terms of what the government do with Birmingham City Council. Yeah,
there's going to be a lot of news on councils, and I think the problem we've got at the moment is, as you said, that Birmingham Council gone bankrupt. Labour have been in big trouble there now, I think, and certainly across London. If you see a Blade Runner around, you might know that they're all masked. I'm sure they're all wanting to hide their identities, and they're stealing and vandalising ULEZ cameras in London. So, yeah, very, very interesting. Moving on now to the interview between Vivek Ramaswamy and Piers Morgan now. Zach, obviously there's been a lot of activity this week in Ukraine. But one thing that has been interesting is Vivek Ramaswamy's comments. Obviously, the Republican candidate who's running in the race to be president for the nomination. Comments about Ukraine. Vivek Ramaswamy certainly had an interesting interview the other day with Piers Morgan.
Yeah, he did. He explained his position on Ukraine, which I think sucks. His position, I think, is terrible, and quite frankly, in my view, it's counterproductive. Now he claimed his position into the interview with Piers, and Piers challenged it quite rapidly on this. Is that his claim of preventing this war is actually, not to stop sort of Russia in many ways, but to stop China, which bizarre. This is basically the real exciting style is stop Russia to stop cozy up to China, not stop Russia to stop Ukraine. He's basically saying that, in previous interviews he hinted, which then denied, which then we got quote to quote as well, that Russia should give Ukraine should give up territory to Russia, any of those that have been invaded by Ukraine illegally. And that that means also that Ukraine should also not join NATO as well. It's a ludicrous position, and all it sees is the name of stopping China. And yeah, the Russians are getting closer to the Chinese. We can't deny that. As well, they're getting closer to North Korea in many ways, and we'll probably get onto that as well. But yeah, his position is ludicrous because it doesn't work. It doesn't prevent peace, and it just gives Putin what he wants. Really, to be fair. As well. So if we have a Republican president, Republican vice president, or president like Vivek Ramaswamy, I'm not sure if he's going to be vice president. He might be up to bloody Carl Lake or Marjorie Taylor Greene, depending on which crank gets it first. But if it was up to him, he'd treat Ukraine very differently. No more funding. Give half the land up to the Russians just to take back as well, freely. No opposition as well. And yeah, just do it all for the sake of stopping China, not stopping Russia. Bizarre and ludicrous. You can do all that at the same time, really. You can stop China, you can stop Russia. And the fact that you said it's called, Vivek Ramaswamy was once called Putin a bully when the Ukraine invasion first started. We should, he called him a bully. We need to pipe down. And now he's almost piping up, allowing him to pipe up. It's obviously a play to the base, but it's a crap play to the base, and it just doesn't work. It's not going to work in a general election, I don't think, as well.
It's interesting because you think Putin is a guy that stands strong with Ukraine. Look, the thing is, I have to say this, okay? We know Russia obviously invaded Ukraine last year. There are parts of, I mean, look, I'm not going to go on this show and go through my opinion on it because I think the questions remain on both sides of the argument about supplying Ukraine with more weapons, about not supplying Ukraine more weapons. The thing is, Zach, I have to say this. With Putin now becoming more isolated from the world, particularly now Russia making even more of a dictatorship, Ukraine now are starting to really get through their strongholds.
Yeah, absolutely. The US, Antony Blinken was out in Ukraine quite recently. Yesterday he was out in Ukraine as well, and I should mention as well what he talked obviously about the session, assessment of what's happening in Ukraine as well. He said as well that that the Ukraine counteroffensive was making good progress. Now, privately behind the scenes, there was sort of this fear on US officials that this was going a bit slow and expected, and it wasn't coming as expected. But now, Antony Blinken's assessment, it was actually the counteroffensive is actually going well. I mean, Blinken's been out in Ukraine, actually $1 billion in aid, 600 today as well, also additionally announced as well. But there's also still, deadly attacks that are going on. Today there's been yesterday's been attack at a Russian eastern Ukraine at a market yesterday as well, the Kostinavika in the Donetsk region as well. 17 people killed, 32 wounded. I mean, that's the serious situation. What's happening here? But the US must feel confident if it's going to give it aid as well. I mean, let me talk about what's also happened as well. Emmanuel Macron calling out, saying that the Russian flag had no place in next year's Paralympics. I agree, as well. And what's also, let's see, happened as well. First time in 4 years, new staff being allowed at the Russian embassy in the North Korean capital at Pyongyang. Now, I think this is obviously significant because there's been reporting, especially US sources and others, that it looks like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un is going to meet in Moscow soon as well. It looks like they're going to talk about weapons and some sort of armory, sort of deal to get armory from North Korea. It's just incredible, really. It sort of provides how much desperate they are, the North and the South. The Russians getting equipment from North Korea, and while this is all happening as well, whilst grain areas where we're heavy on the grain have been attacked as well. It's just quite a scene to look at in many ways, and it's causing big disruption and big issues in Ukraine. And also the fact that there's a meeting between Putin and potentially Kim Jong-un in the works, it just proves sort of the desperation of Putin, really, in fairness, that he's still clutching his straws to adversaries such as North Korea, which launches ballistic missiles every now and then and starts threatening South Korea and US for whatever reason as well. So yeah, this war is still not over, but the US sounded more confident that the Ukraine are doing better on the battlefield now than previously before, which is good to hear. And he's frozen. I think he is. Poor lad. Oh no, here he is. I think he's there. You there, Charlie? I think. Oh, he's frozen. Oh, that lad's poor. Having a little technical few issues there. I think he is. He's going slow, but yeah, I mean, in terms of what's happening in Ukraine, it's a mixed picture if you think about it. More the case that
aggression that out to the next part show. I do apologise again. The technical.
We're back.
Technical issues we're having tonight. I'm pretty sure. I think I will have. I've definitely had some issues mine tonight. My internet's very weak, but I'm still fine, with you guys. I want to talk now about the sport news. Now I'm going to keep this rolling headline on because if I keep clicking it, it's going to keep football. Now, obviously, England are playing at the weekend. We wish them luck. Obviously, just UEFA international friendlies. Last week we had the Premier League. I mean, Zach, some big results in the Premier League last week.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, let me talk about obviously the football whilst we're here as well. Whilst that gets sorted out. Let me talk about what's happened in the front. Let me talk about the Premier League and all the results there. So, transfer window's closed now. Let me just point it out as well. There's quite a few interesting movements on deadline day, but we'll get onto that as well. The transfer news, not the transfer news, but the Premier League results over the weekend were pretty interesting as well. And have some really good matches as well. Let me start on the Friday of last week. Luton, first match at home in the Premier League for many, many years. They lost 2-1 to West Ham. West Ham had a good start to the season as well. This is the Friday night last week. West Ham 2-1. Jared Bowen and Kurt Zouma, the cat kicker, scored in the 85th minute as well. Luton did get Costello goal in the 92nd minute, but it was really nothing. All for nothing, I don't think, on that one, I'm afraid. And it was a loss for Luton Town as well. But let me go through the other matches if I can get it up on my thing, which has been a little bit slow, my phone as well. Oh, I'll just go on there. There we go. Right, let's go through the remote results as well. The Saturday results. The 12:30 match between Sheffield and Everton landed with a 2-2 draw. It was actually a good match, actually, if you think about it. As well. An embarrassing own goal for Jordan Pickford, but then an immaculate save at the end in the 93rd minute. And he incredible save, really. Sheffield United nearly won the match. Jordan Pickford saved it beautifully, no doubt about it as well. Andrew Dorset and Greenveld 55th minute as well. Chris Archer, Jordan Pickford an own goal as well. I mean, from hero to zero to hero really. I think for Jordan Pickford after what was quite I have to say an eventful match as well. Let me talk about the other results. Manchester City 5, Fulham 1. Fulham feel like they've been hard done over, I think, in some ways. But they were not brilliant, I have to say, as well. On that one, they were really bad. 5-1 loss there. A goal from Haaland, who scored a hat-trick as well. I mean, that guy, he's back in his best as well. Really good job there. The surprise result, the 3 p.m. matches, I have to say as well. Nottingham Forest beating Chelsea 1-0. Wow. Chelsea don't look great at the moment. It was Anthony Elanga, the Manchester United movie, who went from Manchester United to Nottingham Forest, scoring in the 48th minute as well to seal it for Nottingham Forest. An absolutely fantastic result for them, and a really surprising one, you must say, because they have been struggling in many ways as well. Nottingham Forest a little bit over the last couple of weeks as well. The other one, Burnley 2, Tottenham 5. Tottenham were 2-0 down in the first couple of minutes. And then they mounted an incredible comeback, really, as well. They managed to get the head in the game and win 5-2. It was really good stuff by Spurs as well. Actually, I should correct myself. It wasn't 2-0 Burnley in a couple of minutes. It was 1-0 Burnley within 4 minutes. But then Son scored a hat-trick. Christian Morero scored in the first half, and then James Maddison scored in the second as well in the 54th minute. It was Brownhill in the 94th minute that scored a consolatory goal for Burnley, but yeah, not good enough from their point of view as well. They were pretty poor on that day as well on that front as well. Other results as well. Let's go through it. Brentford 2-2 as well. Brighton 3-1 victory over Newcastle. Newcastle having a struggling start to the season, I have to say as well. I think the pressure of European football is getting to them anyway, but 3-1 victory. Great result for Brighton after the poor result the previous week before as well. Crystal Palace, let's go to Sunday games. Crystal Palace 3, Wolves 2. Pretty thrilling game, resulted in Crystal Palace winning that one as well. Liverpool 3-0. And then the match of the weekend for me was Arsenal v Manchester United. I mean, that was a chaotic match as well. Let me talk about what happened. Marcus Rashford, 27th minute goal. Scored there. Martin Odegaard, 28th minute goal as well. And then there was periods in the game where they thought Anthony scored the winning goal, and then it was ruled offside. And then it looked like it was going to end 1-1. And then Declan Rice in the corner in the 96th minute. Incredible stuff. Goal for him there. And then Gabriel Jesus counter-attack. In the 111th minute, 101st minute, where they went into 100 minutes. Incredible match overall, and complete stunning result really as well. Honestly, it's the match of the weekend for me. Arsenal Manchester United, a classic duel, Big Six duel there as well. 3-1 there. Now let me talk about what's going on in the European qualifiers, because this week is international break as well. But that doesn't mean to say that there are matches. There are matches going on. Overall tonight, let me go through some of them at the moment as well. This starts today as well. It's not been a good result for the home team, you have to say, on this one. Slovenia 4, Northern Ireland 2. That's a poor result there. Ireland also beaten by France as well, 2-0. Very bad for them as well. Tomorrow, Cyprus taking on Scotland is the main match as well from the home nations as well. And then Saturday, we've got couple of action as well. England against Ukraine as well. That's our first match. That's taking place in Poland, by the way, for those that are wondering what's happened as well. And then obviously match day 6 as well is going to happen as we Kazakhstan, Northern Ireland as well. Ireland and Netherlands as well on the Sunday. Latvia v Wales on the Monday. And on Tuesday is an international friendly between Scotland and England as well. That's going to be happening on Tuesday as well. So yeah, that's what's happening in the European qualifiers this week as well. I believe Wales is also playing this evening as well, and they've also got an international friendly. I don't know whether it was yesterday or the other night. Oh, right. So today, there was a friendly today between Wales and South Korea. That ended up 0-0 as well. Wales play again Monday, like I said as well, on that one. But yeah, it's international action this week as well. And I should mention as well, Charlie, that the Rugby World Cup is starting this week as well. One of the ones I really look forward to every year is the Rugby World Cup, and it's starting this tomorrow with France, New Zealand at 8:15 UK time. I can't wait. Rugby World Cup is probably one of my most favourite world sports to come around, certainly in terms of rugby as well. So the reason why I watch rugby because of the Rugby World Cup, and tomorrow is the reason it started. There's a lot of unpredictability. There's tension among our home nations. England poor across pre-season, in the summer tour as well. I mean, they don't look like their best, I have to say. Ireland look forward. Ireland as the reigning Six Nation winners as well. That's going to be a match to watch. Then we've got Australia involved. We've got New Zealand involved as well. England's first match will be against Argentina. I mean, let's go through the fixtures if we go for the Rugby World Cup this weekend. So this weekend is France, New Zealand, and then on Saturday we've got Italy, Namibia at 12. Ireland take on Romania at 2:30 Saturday. Australia begin against Georgia also on Saturday as well. That's at 5. England take on Argentina. That's one to watch at 8 o'clock. And on the Sunday, we've got Japan v Chile, South Africa, Scotland. That's going to be a thrilling match, I have to say. And then Wales v Fiji as well at Sunday at 8 o'clock as well. But yeah, really looking forward to the World Cup this weekend, as well as there's definitely matches I'm going to be watching on there as well. I'm just so looking forward to it. It's going to be a cracking weekend of rugby action, and hopefully going to get a cracking tournament which is taking place in France tomorrow from 8:15 as well.
Hi guys. I just want to say, Zach, I hope everything's good with us. Well, with the sports news, because my devices, my internet has now really started to play up.
I'm dealing with it well. I've kept it running smoothly for you. I've managed to sort of go on talk about filter and keep it going as well. So yeah, it's all going well, Charlie. I've pretty much finished the football rugby side segment. If you want to mention anything else, then you're more than welcome to, mate.
That's fine. I'm sorry, guys. Honestly, guys, all I can say is, I mean, this internet is horrendous. I mean, I've just had to reboot my entire device just to get back on it. So, yeah, honestly, a nightmare getting the signal on. But we're live on the Tonight Show podcast. I just want to quickly update you guys on the Formula 1. Zach, just quick update. Max Verstappen, 10 from 10 now.
Yeah, 10 from 10. Congratulations, team. A record-breaking 10 from 10 as well from Max Verstappen. It's absolutely well-deserved. And he's done a stunning job as well. For 10 to 10 is a brilliant achievement for him as well. In sort of kind of tricky scenarios, you have to say as well. I mean, he pretty much, he didn't get pole on Saturday, but he certainly did get the 10 out of 10 he wanted on the Sunday. Once he got past Carlos Sainz, he was off and on to the distance as well. It was a good race apart from, behind Max Verstappen, I have to say. It was a good race, actually, I thought. If you exclude Max Verstappen in the field, there was a lot of action as well. It was a lot of overtaking as well, which was really good to see. And I think that overall, if you sort of forget Max Verstappen going off the distance, then yeah, it was a good race. I mean, Sergio Perez second position as well, good result for him. I mean, he battled his way through this field really well. Carlos Sainz third, Charles Leclerc fourth, George Russell fifth, Lewis Hamilton sixth, Max Albon great result in seventh position. I think for him, especially on the tyre structure as well. Lando Norris eighth position, Fernando Alonso ninth, Valtteri Bottas 10th, Liam Lawson finishing ahead of Yuki Tsunoda. Actually did not even start the race, I have to say as well. Retired in the formation lap. As well, but 11th position for Liam Lawson in his second race as well. He's going to have a couple more races, I think, up until Qatar at the earliest. It seems like he's going to be racing a few more, Singapore and Japan at the most. He's going to be racing the next couple of races as well. Looking at what Christian Horner said as well. Piastri 12th, Logan Sargent 13th. I mean, I'm lucky for Oscar Piastri. Got clobbered by Lewis Hamilton, which resulted in a 5-second penalty for him, and then made contact as well with Logan Sargent and forced him off the circuit as well. Bit of an unlucky race for him. Joe Guan Yu 14th, Pierre Gasly 15th, Lance Stroll 16th. Poor result for him. poor results over Hulkenberg and Magnussen. Esteban Ocon DNF'd in 19th. As I say, Yuki Tsunoda didn't even start the race as well on that one. So yeah, not good there as well. So yeah, pretty much that's good from the F1 side of things there, Charlie.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting one, the F1, from what I know. Obviously, Valtteri Bottas got the final point, by the way. If I can remember the order, it was Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, who put up one of the defences of the year to finish third. I mean, first podium of the year for him. Leclerc was fourth. I'm going to try and memorise this off the best of my head. Fifth, I believe, was George Russell. Sixth was Lewis Hamilton. Seventh was Alex Albon in the Williams. Eighth was, I believe, Lando Norris in McLaren. Ninth was I'm sure Zach's already received the order. Valtteri Bottas got the point. Just trying to work out the ninth place driver.
It was Alonso.
Fernando Alonso. Yes, thank you, Zach. In the Aston Martin. That's an off. They had an off weekend, didn't they? I'm surprised with their lack pace, didn't they? Alonso only got 2 points comparing to a top 5 in Zandvoort. And Verstappen just unbeatable, 10 out of 10. He's broke a record. He's now the greatest, one of the greats of all time now. He's probably going to go on and smash more records, I reckon. Hashtag, do you think Red Bull are going to win another race? Comment down below what you make to the F1. The next race is next weekend in Singapore, under the lights. So very interesting. Hopefully Aston Martin will be have a better race next week because it's a street circuit. And maybe other teams as well. Very hot race, very humid race. It's going to impact tyres, body weights a lot. It's going to be a very chaotic race indeed. As well, I've managed to find somehow a new position to do my show tonight via this position. So hopefully we'll get some internet. Will run smoothly now. But what I want to say though, Zach, just before we move on and do the other news, IndyCar and NASCAR. IndyCar, just wanted to say congratulations, Alex Palou seems to have won another title. But in NASCAR, Zach, the playoffs certainly entering a new phase now.
Yeah. First of all, like I said, obviously, like I said, congratulations, Alex Palou. Enough points to seal the title. We don't need to go to the last race at all for that one. Kyle Larson, winner of the London race, as well. Ahead of Tyler Reddick, Chris Buescher, William Byron, and Ross Chastain. Brad Keselowski, 6th, Bubba Wallace 7th, Chase Elliott 8th, Ryan Blaney 9th, and Eric Jones in 10th position. Congratulations to obviously Kyle Larson winning that race as well. It'll be a good race in that, I have to say as well. Important victory for Kyle Larson as well. It was good to see him get a victory in that front as well. And what that means is obviously as the playoff driver, he automatically through to the next round, the round of 12, as well as a playoff driver that he's won. He's won the race and he gets an automatic spot to the playoffs. So the next round of playoffs. Congratulations to Kyle Larson through to there as well. Let's look at the situation as we go into the second race as well in the standings. The one to look out for in this scenario as well, and let's look at the points as well. Kyle Larson, the ones in the playoff that are in danger at the moment are Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Bubba Wallace. At the moment, they are the ones that are struggling at the moment and are on the cliff edge at the moment. As we go into Kenseth, this is the next round of the season. This is the second round of the round of 16, round 2 of 3, and the racing at Kenseth will be at 8 p.m. UK time on Sunday at Kenseth City, the Hollywood Casino 400 as well. Let me talk about what's going on in the Xfinity Series because I believe they were also racing at Darlington as well. Denny Hamlin, non-points runner by the way, because he's running full-time the Cup, so he doesn't get a point of it winning the race. The one that got the most points actually, was John Hunter Nemechek in third position. He got the most points as well, and he was, although he finished third behind Austin Hill, he got the most points out of it, so he will probably be the most pleased out of it as well. Very
Well, we seem to have lost Zach at the moment there. I do apologise.
Justin Allgaier, apologies
for that at the moment.
Can you hear me?
Carl Lawson is through to the next round of playoffs.
Yeah.
Technology
Can you hear me, Charlie?
guys, is certainly...
Oh, and he's gone. Yeah, so Denny Hamlin was first. Ryan Healy 6th, Justin Allgaier 7th, Sam Creed 8th. I think it was Kyle Busch 9th and Daniel Henry 10th. Truck Series were not in action, I believe, last week. They are in action this weekend as well on Saturday, though. Which is good to see. And then it was also Saturday for the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, and the Cup Series as well on NASCAR, and then onwards as well. But yeah, and round 2 is going to be certainly interesting of the playoffs. As well, it's an opportunity for everyone to really get back in the game, really, to be fair, as well. So we're going to wait for Charlie on this. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the IndyCar, it's been a good season, I have to say, for Alex Palou. I mean, he's been a dominant season. He's had enough points to rival enough points ahead as well. And he's been the most dominant driver out the whole lot, really, to be fair, as well. I mean, no, the drama of the track, really, with F1 and everything like that as well, and the contract with McLaren, that's really not hindered him as well with Chip Ganassi. But he's done a good job of managing to, get the points in and win a second IndyCar title. It really has been excellent for him as well. And he consistency in races has been what really helped him, certainly, as well, as we go into the final weekend race of the weekend at Laguna Segue. He's done really well to maintain consistency, getting the points, win races, and finish ahead enough as well to win the title. It's been really good for him as well. I'm thoroughly pleased. I mean, there was the snow, obviously the Grand Prix Monte, Laguna Sea, last race of the season as well. It's always that. I always like it when I go to Laguna Sea. I think it's a really nice circuit to go to. Well, it's fun. It's twisty. It's a bit down Steel Peak Herb as well. And it's really fun actually as well. Certainly as well. But that's on the 10th of September. As well, which is next week, which is, by the way, is on the Sunday as well. I believe the race is at 8 p.m. UK time. Right. I'm going to keep going whilst Charlie is still having technical difficulties as well, because I mean, there's a few things to talk about. We want to talk about it as well. What's been going on with my week? Because I've been very hot this week. In conversation, I'll do the conversation for a bit because he might come back in a mo as well, and he's probably restarting his device again. But let's talk about the weather. It's been very hot this week, hasn't it? It's been really, really hot. I'm boiling in my room, by the way, having sweaty armpits as I speak. Not fun at all. But temperatures this week it's the hottest of the year, and today's been reached the hottest of the year. As well, 32 degrees, I think, in one part of the UK. It's being recorded as well. We reached the hottest day of the year. And let me just talk about this. So Surrey, Wisley in Surrey, 32.6 degrees Celsius as well, with amber heat alerts. I mean, it's been very hot as well. Charlie's coming back. Let's see if he's sorted his technical difficulties out.
Hello, guys. Sorry about this tonight. I do apologise. This internet is just really, really playing up. So all I can say is I'm hoping Zach has filled me in tonight.
Yeah, I have.
What's happening? It honestly, the internet tonight's been terrible. I've barely been on this show, so yeah. I just want to say, just quickly, guys. I will obviously let you guys know that I will try and for next week's show try and sort the internet out back to normal. But yeah, I just wanted to say when is the next NASCAR race again, Zach? Just to let you know.
It is it's on Sunday at 8 p.m. UK time. It's NASCAR Cup Series round number 2 of the playoffs at Kansas Motor Speedway.
Kansas Motor Speedway will be the next NASCAR race. So that's all I'm going to say. From what I can hear now. Now it's time to move on to the next part of the show now, and talk about I don't know what this is the interesting bit. We're going to be talking all about the heat wave we're having at the moment. We've had the hottest September day since I think 2016, 32 degrees or something recorded in the UK. Is that for this weather unseasonably warm?
Yeah, it's the hottest day of the year so far today, Charlie. 32.6 degrees Celsius in Wisley in Surrey. That's how hot it's been today, actually. I've certainly felt the heat today. Certainly my room as well. I might say I'm still sweating. as I had really. I mean, even in the night time, it's still really hot and it's sticky. I've had the bees come into the house, which is really annoying. And yeah, I felt certain the hotness as well. This is what it's going to be like when I'm in Cyprus in a few weeks' time. I have to say as well, it's going to feel like an extended summer for me. It's been, but at least they have better aircon there because they literally have 30 degrees conditions every day, I imagine, which probably is helpful from my perspective as well. But yeah, it's been 32.6 degrees. It's hot. It's sweaty. The thing is about it though is we've not reached the complete and utter. I mean, it's warm for September, which it makes me wonder we're going to get a slightly warmer December as well. In some ways, where it's going to be a bit wacky in terms of whether we're going to get another twist and get kind of wacky. But the overall summer has been actually really been miserable up until this point. It's almost felt at times like autumn, showers, rain, wind, storms. It felt it doesn't felt like summer this year in some ways. And it's only felt it right now where we're getting 30-degree conditions as well. It's nowhere near the benchmark of the 40 degrees we got last year, no doubt about it. I feel relieved in some ways. It's nowhere near the 40 degrees, but it's still hot today. It feels like a normal summer where we reach 32 degrees, but it's actually in September. And I remember a few years ago, I think it was 2013 that actually reached 30 odd degrees in September as well. So this is not the first time. This is like 10 years on where it's reached 30 degrees in a September. But as well, it matches the previous record for consecutive days of high heat in September, no doubt as well. So yeah, and overall, it has been the hottest summer record across the globe, which obviously plays into the talk about climate change, global warming, all that sort of thing as well. Um, it's incredible. We've obviously seen Greece on fire. We've seen America on fire, Hawaii on fire as well. Spain drenching in heat as well. But yeah, it's been a hot summer. I don't know what the weather is over the next couple of days. I'm going to check it up as well, but it's still going to be quite hot. I think over the next few days, the plan for it, let me look it up as well. I mean, yeah, it's going to be 30 tomorrow, again. 30 Saturday, 29 Sunday, 27 Monday. It's still going to remain hot and humid over the next couple of days as well. I just go back to the overall weather and look at temperatures in London. 31 for tomorrow, 32 Saturday, 30 degrees Sunday as well. And it's going to get a little cooler on Monday, 27. It's still going to be really warm, and it will start cooling down a little bit. But yeah, it felt hot, and it's been doing this for consecutive days. And actually, it's been a nice period if you think about it. It's been that nice hot, but not like sticky, dreadful hot like we had last summer. But yeah, it's still been really hot and really sticky.
It's going to be a warm weekend. There's no question about that. It is going to be very, very warm out there. So all I can say is that, yeah, just enjoy it. Obviously, it's weird being autumn. Autumn meant to be autumn, and it's like probably feels like summer out there today. I've certainly done a lot since I've been up here. I've been to Clacton. I've been to the seafront. Been on the pier. Been relaxing outside on the day. It's actually really nice, like when you go out and enjoy the weather, that's what you got to do. I know some people go out there and try and cause like looting and shooting and stuff, especially in like Southend the other day. Treat this weather sensibly. Don't go around and think you can cause problems for yourself. Some people use hot weather to cause arson attacks and stuff like that. We don't need things like that to happen. That's believe what the Tenerife issue was. So all I'm going to say, guys, is just be sensible, stay sensible, be respectful, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So that's that segment done. In terms of the newspapers, which is the final bit of the show we're going to go on to, hopefully, fingers crossed, this goes through now as well. Now, obviously, while I was off there earlier, Zach, could we just have a rerun of the football scores for everyone who didn't know them the other day?
Yeah, I think I went through it whilst I was whilst you're sort of having your technical hitch up. So I'm just going to go through it very briefly. I'm not going to spend too much detail of the football scores, but let me just go through it again as well in pretty much classified. So on Friday it was Luton Town 1, West Ham 2. Saturday's action was Sheffield United 2, Everton 2, Man City 5, Fulham 1, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Very surprising result there. Burnley 2, Tottenham 5, Brentford 2, Bournemouth 2, Brighton 3, Newcastle 1. And then Sunday it was Crystal Palace 3, Wolves 2, Liverpool 3, Aston Villa 0, and then Arsenal 3, Man United 1 as well on that front as well. Premier League's not back this weekend. As I said, it's international football this weekend. Well, England play on Saturday. Both the island teams have lost tonight as well. They've been playing international action. It's Serbia and as France, respectively. I think Slovakia actually. It's Northern Ireland, Slovakia, Republic of Ireland, France as well. Wales and Japan have drew as well in the international friendly. England play. Scotland play tomorrow against Cyprus away at 7:45. England play at 5 o'clock on Saturday against Ukraine. That place is taking place in Poland, obviously, because they can't play in Ukraine. And then, obviously, the other matches we look forward to as well. There's other Northern Ireland matches as well, if I remember quite rightly. So if I go through them as well, I've got them somewhere lingering about on here somewhere as well. Where were we? As well. Let me just go through them. My phone's been a bit playing up. But we're playing Scotland on the Tuesday as well in international friendly. Here we go. On Sunday as well, the rest of the matches are Kazakhstan, Northern Ireland at 2 on Sunday. Republic of Ireland against Netherlands at 7:45 as well. And on the Monday, Latvia take on Wales as well. And on the Tuesday, England and Scotland and England are taking part in a friendly as well in Scotland at 7:45. That doesn't count towards Euro qualifiers because it's a friendly match as well. But yeah, that's Euro.
That will be at
Hampden Park. As well at 7:45. Charlie is having a few. The Clacton Wi-Fi don't like Charlie today as well. So why don't
where England
there we go. You're back.
Will be playing Scotland.
There we go.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say England play at Hampden Park, obviously away to Scotland as well. Now it's time for the papers for tonight, and obviously because I've got issues with technology tonight, I'm going to let Zach take you through the papers as planned.
Sure. Let me go through each one of them as well. There's only a few releases as well, but let me just tell you what's. I'm going to read what's on the front page as well because this phone is decided to do lock screen protection. But there we go. I've got it back as well. Daily Mirror, thank you for. You probably can't see it. There you go. Daily Mirror, thank you for your love. It's 1 year on since the death of Her Majesty the Queen, which you point out as well. And we're going to celebrate it 1 year on. Her reveals deep gratitude as well. The King has thanked the nation for our support during the first year as monarch since the Queen's death as well. Charles also held a devout service of her mother, who died 12 months ago today after a 70-year reign as well. So just thought I'd mention that as well. A year today since Her Majesty Queen sadly passed away. As well. And I just want to point to that as well. Guardian goes for escape of terrorist suspect prompts prison cuts rouse. That's the front page there as well. Ministers are blamed for staff shortages in jails and second day of manhunt as well. They're still not being found. Obviously, when he escaped on the Tuesday, he wasn't found there as well. And now today, they've still not been able to find him as well, which is obviously shocking. There's been 150 counter-terrorism officers are currently involved in the search for him as well, and he's still not being found as well. The Daily Star, with their very, if I can get this sort of go to the camera, they got a very hideous front page here as well. Where it says, Doddy didn't become a ghost daddy. As well, the ghost of the comedy legend Sir Ken Dodd has been haunting his old house in Naughty Ash by Slamming Doors, best call in the Digimen. I don't know what it is with the Daily Star, but they always come out with some sort of ghost headline as well. It's very odd with them. I know that this will probably change in a moment. Where this, and I know the apologies for the lighting. It probably just changes. If I tilt it a little bit, you probably can see it. But the Daily Star always come up with this really hideous headline of ghosts and everything like that. It's almost like a weird ghost occurrence with celebrities and all that sort of thing. It's a bit weird with them as well. The eye goes for fugitive terror suspect escape investigated as a possible prison inside job. The government is actively investigating whether or not Daniel Abu Khalid was helped by any staff or fellow inmates during his breakout from HMP Wandsworth. Now, if other staff have been involved helping escape, then those staff should be sacked, quite frankly, or should be faced disciplinary sanctions as well. Because if it is an inside job, then the staff we have helped, then it's a dereliction of duty on their front. If it's the inmates themselves that helped out, shame on them. Sentence them to further stuff as well. They don't deserve it, quite frankly. They do deserve it if it is them. Sorry, that's what I mean. But if it's the staff, then shame on them. Dereliction of duty as well. Financial Times as well. This is going to be economic related. The Treasury, they go for pensions poised for fresh jump as triple lock matches wage growth. The Treasury is preparing to increase the state pension by more than 8% next year because of the controversial triple lock pledge, which has raised retired income faster than workers' wages. The sharp increase in state pension follows a 10.1% rise this year. Pensioners who are protecting the last year's energy inflation will now receive another blow, this time in line with increase in average wages. So yeah, the triple lock is there as well. It adds £3 billion to the Treasury bill as well. The DAWP estimates the cost of the state pension will rise from 124 billion this year to 134 billion next year. Does the triple lock need to be sort of changed? Possibly, if worker wages are not coming up in line, but state pensioners are increasing, maybe it's time to look at the triple lock and see what can be done about that. Because I don't know where it's working now, with workers getting less than pensioners who are living off of it. M-Way, Chaos and Hunt for Terror Spy, that is the Metro. Their front page as well. They go for that. I got an advert page come up for, I don't know what the hell that is, as well. M-Way, Chaos as well. That's what they go for. I know my lighting's not brilliant on that one. For Terror Spy, traffic queues outside port as vehicle check for elusive jailbreaking soldier as well. Queues being pictured outside the M20 outside Dover. Reminds me of the time when they're all queuing outside Dover because they they shut the borders. France nearly shut the port borders between them and the UK during COVID when they had that new variant coming in. There was chaos and docks and everything like that as well. I used to remind myself at the time as well. That reminds me of what I've seen with this picture as well. But yeah, that is the papers for tomorrow, Charlie, the 8th of September 2023.
Yeah, well, certainly lots of papers there that have been announced on this show. Because I'm hoping now, I'm going to just quickly go over a couple of things to finish off in the news. I mean, Zach, before we round things up, there's been a lot of other news stories that have been out this week. Obviously, regarding Donald Trump, he's been out doing a few more campaign trails. Do you think Trump has been interested in attacking Joe Biden recently over his record on Hunter?
Yeah, very much. And speaking of Hunter Biden, it looks like he's about to face indictment by the Department of Justice. The special counsel there is going to seek an indictment in the court reading what they filing what they've seen as well. Is going to seek an indictment by the end of this month, and on possible gun-related charges, financial tax charges as well. It looks like life is about to get difficult for Hunter Biden, especially the fact that this plea deal fell apart. And now that fact it looks he's going to get indicted by what the special counsel is putting is inside as well. So yeah, difficult for him on that front. It's going to get tricky, I think, for Joe Biden as well, especially his links there as well. President Biden's off to the G20 this week, tomorrow as well. Flying off to India for the G20 summit. And yeah, his wife sadly tested positive for COVID. She's okay. She's doing well. Biden's tested negative. Good to see on that front as well. But yeah, Trump is continuing to dominate the polls. It looks like he's going to easily win the primary. Based on current figures at the moment, we've still got a way to go, but it looks like an easy ride for him. He's increasing his lead all the time. Nobody else wants to vote against him, really. And I think that, at the moment, it's his to win in terms of the Republican primary vote.
It will be an interesting news story as well that will dominate, I'm sure. And also, Zach, as well, the BBC are in crisis at the moment. Laura Kuenssberg's show doesn't seem to be rating very well at the moment.
No, it seems to be getting less views at the moment than what it got when Andrew Marr and even when David Frost was representing the show. David Frost used to be quite a very good presenter for the BBC at the time as well. But yeah, it's not rating as well as Andrew Marr and when presented as well. It's down. It may be because of viewing habits have changed, or maybe because people are just not interested in watching these sort of shows anymore as well. I haven't seen what the ratings are like for Trevor Phillips because he's starting a new show Sunday as well. But yeah, it's different compared to what I've previously watched before. But I mean, it's a political show at the end of the day. I still watch it as well. But yeah, Laura Kuenssberg's show. It's just I don't feel like people are feeling the warmth from Laura Kuenssberg compared to what Andrew Marr had as well. But yeah, her show not rated as well as it used to when Andrew Marr and even Dave Frost back in the days before even Andrew Marr signed up, which was years ago, was rating.
Yeah, that's an interesting development. The BBC certainly in turmoil at the moment. And one of the final news stories we're going to talk about, Zach. Britain seems to be rejoining the EU in somehow.
Yes, they've rejoined the Horizon Science Scheme, which actually, if you think about it, it's good because it helps our scientists out quite a lot, do our scientific innovations as well. And this is just a measure that I feel like we should have rejoined quite a while ago, but it's been subject to quite a lot of negotiations as well. It's something that we really shouldn't have left and we should have tried to leave. I mean, the UK did try to set up their own sort of UK science scheme as well, but it's failed miserably. And in the end of the day, they've obviously decided the benefits of Horizon, an EU scheme, which, by the way, it contains many other non-European Union members, not just us. It is the way to go, and I agree with that. And it's certainly the right choice. I personally think as well to rejoin the scheme.
Yeah, that's another one, and obviously this is part now just because where I've had the technical issues, we're trying to fill in as much questions as we can. A couple of other questions I just want to pop in very quickly. I mean, Zach, big week as well for both parties ahead of a busy autumn for conferences for the parties.
Yeah, I mean it's not long until conference season now. This week I believe. I think this weekend or either next week actually. Is so the Congress season begins. I don't know when actually. If I look at the date, so I know the TUC is coming up. Yeah, so this weekend and coming up is TUC. Next week is our TUC conference, trade union conference, this week as well. Let me go through. If I go through some of the others as well, party conference season. So if we go through the party conference season as well, it will be interestingly enough, it's a slightly different order this year actually compared to previous conference seasons as well. It's slightly different. So the TUC conference is coming up about the 10th this weekend to the 13th over the next couple of weeks, over the next week as well. Then Lib Dems will be the first party to kick off their conference season. They'll be going to Bournemouth on the Saturday 23rd to Tuesday 26th. Then, surprisingly enough, it will be the Conservative Conference afterwards on Sunday the 1st of October to Wednesday the 4th of October. Normally, Labour Conference come before Conservative Conference. This year, it's Conservative Conference before Labour Conference. And then Labour Conference will take place in Liverpool from Sunday the 8th of October to Wednesday the 11th of October as well. But yeah, that is the conference season coming up. So it's coming up. It starts this week in the next couple of days with TUC conference, trade union, and then we get into the busy bits as well at the end of September and October with Liberal Democrats conference, Conservative conference, and then Labour conference as well coming up in the next couple of weeks as well. Just to say that, he's froze. You're back. You're back. Finally, you made it. You hang out on this last couple of bits.
Yeah, I just want to, obviously, as that you were just saying as well about the conferences, lots of conferences coming up, as I'm sure you know. And the final question tonight, the rack concrete scandal. Zach, Keir Starmer mentioned about Labour's building plan or something in PMQs. What was your overall assessment of that before we finish?
Yeah, I mean, he's spot on because Labour had this building programme that was scrapped by the Conservatives in 2010 because they decided not just scrap it but abolish it, rather than just sort of reallocate it. They decided to scrap it altogether. And this is the situation where schools were being rebuilt and the Labour programme as well. They're going to get rebuilt, but then obviously the Conservative Party decided to scrap it as well. That's where Keir Starmer mentioned it as well with the RAC, obviously Gillian Keegan as well. An indication of that Britain is crumbling and broken and pretty much in Mark's way as well. And that's what it feels like to him as well. So it was a good PMQ session for Keir Starmer overall, I think, Phil, in my opinion as well.
Do you think Gillian Keegan is probably on her way out? And do you think the education secretaries are becoming too quick now?
Well, I like I said earlier, I think I think the Conservatives should do an effing good job of trying to sack her, but obviously they clearly don't. But no, it looks like the Prime Minister has confidence in Gillian Keegan, which I don't think the country is feeling right at the moment, especially with the way she's been handling things as well. I don't feel like they have any confidence in her, and honestly, she doesn't have a grip of the shambles at the moment.
A lot of people compare it to Gavin Williamson. I'm sure that will be the theme for the day. And that is going to conclude the Tonight Show podcast tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I do apologise that I've had so many technical issues tonight. It's been like the GB News launch weekend. That's all I can say. The launch show for GB News, technical glitches, mic problems. Honestly, guys, thank you so much for watching for the show, and I do apologise about all the technical issues that we've had tonight. As I've come from on location. So, yeah. Welcome to the world of modern technology. Sometimes, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next week, back in my normal studio, where we'll be talking about all things news. For you now, I'm Charlie Tolhurst and my co-host Zach James. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and good night.